Well, hello everybody. 4 o'clock hour on this Thursday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill coming to you from my home up in Vancouver. We actually have a weather system that I talked about on KGW TV this morning that would bring some afternoon rain up around Seattle, maybe Astoria, maybe Kelso Longview. Well, that system farther south and more robust than what models are indicating. I'll show you that in a moment. But mainly, I'm talking about getting into your Friday and into this upcoming weekend, and we'll take a look at July 4th. So, on the left, it's been what, 70 yesterday. We're 70 out there right now. We do have a sunny, warming weekend still coming. So, here's not a huge upper level ridge. That's a good high out in the Pacific, but the ridge inland, you can see it right there. This is Sunday, and it still looks like we could get up to 90 on Sunday. 20 degrees warmer than we are right now. And we could be well up into the 90s Monday to start next week. So more on that coming up. Meanwhile, this is July 4th. Upper level low, Gulf of Mexico toward Vancouver Island, troughing offshore. So if you stare at this, you're like, well, we're probably not looking at a big heat wave July 4th. And I think right now that's the best bet. And you would wonder, could we actually see some scattered showers? We'll talk more about that coming up as well. Okay. All this brought to you by, I went by that too quick. The Momentous Wealth Podcast. Momentous Wealth Podcast. Listen on Spotify, listen on Apple Podcast from Momentous Wealth Management. They sponsor and they have a variety of investment topics for you to choose from to educate yourself, especially if you're like me and you have 401ks, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Let's talk about the outlook real quick. I'm going to kind of bounce over a few topics here. So this came out June 19th. This is the outlook for July from NOAA and the National Weather Service. All of the West expected to be above normal. The greatest confidence of being above normal, the darker red here, Salt Lake City, parts of northern Nevada, and up into Idaho. Now, just because you're in the greatest confidence to see above normal temperatures, that's not saying you're going to be the most above. It's just saying that the confidence is greatest that you are going to be somewhat at least above normal temperature wise. And then the upper plain states back into Oregon and back into Washington, odds favoring below normal precipitation. Now, on the flip side, we don't typically get much moisture in July, period. So I like to say there's not a whole lot of difference between below normal, normal, and above normal in July. Of course, fingers crossed, we would always like to get some rain during the month. So we'll see how all that ends up. So a couple ways to look at this. We're talking about July. This is the 30-day anomaly on the American GFS model for the upper flow pattern, 500 millibar, 18,000 feet. So what to note here is we're summer, right? So you're looking for the centers of the high pressure ridges because those will be the center heat domes. And remember the map I just showed you. It showed high confidence to be above normal up through like Salt Lake City, Utah. Here's why. Here's a big high that's over the four corners of Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado. And we're up here kind of on the outer periphery of it. There's a little weak troughing along, especially the coast of Canada. So the question is, do we stay with a number of days where we get a Pacific flow pattern and we're 70s or 80s, or do we get sucked into the outer periphery flow of this big upper level high and go on some runs of 90-degree heat? Well, if we're going to be above normal for July, you would assume that this high is going to feed us at least a couple spells of a run of 90-degree temperatures. One more map to show you. This is the European model, and this is the upper flow patterns. What I just showed you was the entire 30 days. This is July 18th through July 25th. So 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 days. Upper level high shifts slightly to the west and to the north, now more centered over Utah. Here's the 591 contour cutting over central Oregon. So now we're getting more under the influence of this upper level high. So my point is there are multiple models that somewhere between the 17th, 18th, 19th, 24th, 25, 26, we could go on a run of 90 plus degree temperatures. Now, right now I've got Portland hitting 90 this Sunday and 94 on Monday. So that'd be 2 days of 90-degree temperatures coming up. And then maybe this is a run of 5, 6, 7 days. So all of a sudden we're starting to rack up and get around 10 90-degree days through the 25th of July for the season. Remember the outlook I put out some time ago back in May called for us to have at least 22 total 90-degree days for the season from May through September. So we'll see. That's the July outlook right now. Okay. Let's get out of this and let's take a look at what's going on. This is the radar. Right now it's coming up on 4:45 on this Thursday. That is heavy rain being picked up outside of Chehalis and Centralia and then up towards Seattle. Rain showers in Astoria, Tillamook. A little bit of rain certainly up in Kelso, Columbia right now. So this is a much stronger system than what I was looking at this morning. And it's why, if you live in Vancouver or down into Portland, all of a sudden we've seen what was starting to break out of the clouds, all of a sudden cloud back over. Okay. Here's a look at the flow pattern. This is a kind of a zonal trough coming in. Here's the northwest. There's Portland where my cursor is. Zonal trough. Right here is that little disturbance that's producing the rain. And then there's another one trailing right back in here. So let's see what the national blended model looks like. So we just saw the radar. Even the updated national blended model is keeping the rain up more toward the Puget Sound. So we know this is not correctly picking up how far south this rain threat is. But I'll go ahead and play this through tonight into tomorrow. Here's that next system coming, again hitting Western Washington, and then weakening as it tries to throw rain over the Olympic Mountains and maybe something over the Puget Sound tomorrow evening. So, if you think, well, it's not picking up the one today very well, so maybe the one tomorrow picks up more rain in Seattle. It comes a little bit farther south than what the models are showing too. So just note that is certainly something to keep an eye on. This is, let's see, where it is picking up the rain. There's 15/100ths, 12/100ths of an inch. This is through Friday. Well, let's just let this sit. This is total rain through tomorrow at 5 p.m. Showing a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain, maybe up around the Canadian border, showing some rain in Astoria, some rain in Kelso Longview, even showing some wetting in the West Gorge. All right, so that bears watching. Here it is on the American GFS model. This is this afternoon at 5 p.m. This is a surface map, basically. So the green represents the model saying, hey, there's some showers or some precipitation. So we know that's correct. All of Western Washington kind of starting to pick up a little bit of moisture, right? We know that's totally correct. Okay. So here comes right back in here. This is the second wave for tomorrow. It kind of breaks up, doesn't show much. Now I'm going to keep playing this into Saturday afternoon. Notice high nosing inland. If you follow, these are the isobars of pressure, so you follow them to get the wind direction. Here's the wind direction on Saturday, kind of north. That'll shut down the Pacific somewhat. We have some warming of the air mass itself, and it looks like we could get up to 80 degrees. Now let's play this into Sunday for the weekend. Here's Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. More of a northeast flow. And see these dashed red lines? These show warming. They're called thickness contours, but in this case, they show warming. So you got this warming building up in the southern and central Oregon. You got a northeast wind flow into Portland, Salem, and Vancouver. That could be a 90-degree day. Okay. And then we've got 94 degrees, I think, on Monday. I'm just going to play this because I want to get through into July 4th. Here's Tuesday the 1st. I think this is going to let me, yeah, here's coming July 4th in the afternoon. Okay, this is next Friday of next week, July 4th. High pressure ridge. This shows dry, shows a system offshore. Models have not been consistent on what to expect over July 4th weekend. So if this one is correct, we're dry Friday and Friday night for the fireworks. That'd be great. Then you got some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity over parts of southern and central and eastern Oregon going into Saturday, July 5th. And then you've got this system kind of spinning in maybe late Sunday into Monday, the end going into Monday, July, what would that be? This would be July 7th. So somewhere in that July 4th weekend, maybe not until after, there's a chance of some rain coming in. Well, again, the models have not been consistent. Just note I'm watching multiple scenarios. Okay, let's start with Seattle. Let's go around the horn. Well, we saw that second system bring a chance of showers to Seattle and cloud cover on Friday and 65. That makes sense. Then the weekend goes dry, and there's the warming, 82 on Monday. Okay, all right. So that all makes sense. Let's back out of this. Let's go down to Salem. What we got? Decreasing clouds on Friday, assuming that system stays up to the north on weekends, 75, a little bit warmer. There's the weekend, 81, 90, what I've been saying. And then still warm to hot on Monday. And then we're cooling down a little bit going into mid part of next week. Okay, that all makes sense. Central Oregon, just dry. And for the most part, sunny and comfortable Friday, Saturday, but Sunday gets hot and there's Monday 94 and then stays upper 80s into Thursday, July 3rd. Okay. Out in Pendleton, it's going to be dry. Look at Monday, a day that I think Portland could hit 94. This shows 99 on Monday, 97 on Tuesday. So that's some heat coming out to the Columbia Basin. Okay. Let's go to Newport. Generally temperatures in the 60s. Nice weekend, becoming sunny, sunny and breezy Sunday. But an onshore flow, so it doesn't really warm up in Newport. Is it going to be the same down in North Bend? Onshore flow, which means you've got maritime air coming in, temperatures in the 60s. Okay. So I tell you what, the farther from Portland northward you live on this Thursday evening, you have at least a chance of picking up a shower or two. So FYI on that, my forecast was kind of crap on that. The models did not pick that up correctly, but that's ultimately on me. Friday, partly cloudy skies, morning cloudiness, then partly cloudy. If we cloud back up over the afternoon like we are today, you know it's that second system maybe being farther south. Then the weekend sunny, 81, 90, 94 Monday, and then cooling down, becoming more comfortable into midweek. 7 Day brought to you by Hazeldale Tire Pros up here in Clark County off of I-5. All right, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps me out. You'll be notified when I post. I'm Rod Hill, and I will talk to you soon.